Hey folks, I guess I haven't done one of these in a while, but you know, um, there is gonna be a YouTube video, but I'm not on the Ball and Mackerel Productions page. I'll do a live vid on there at some point. Tell them about the podcast. Oh yeah, so me and Andy have been working on a podcast this evening. It should be available, well, tomorrow or Sunday. So, um, I have to say all our fence panels are sold. But I didn't put it out on the Builders Office page, so hopefully someone will have put it out. But we've got some flags that is. Oh no, they're sold as well. Sorry. Yeah. Which reminds me, I need to ask Thingy when he comes if we can do a deal with a couple of bags of sand. So, anyways, um, that's going to cost me a fair bit as well. But anyway. It'll be cheaper if I can do it through there. Anyway, we'll still market you. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Anyway, um, so yeah, somebody's asking me about um. So I still don't know much about the um the Genio in terms of actually getting a program to run on it. But what I do know is it does run PDFs. So you can, as long as you've got a micro SD card, you can save a PDF to it and it'll run the PDF. But there's still things that I haven't tried on it yet. So, um, like I'll write something on the Mac and I'll save it to the SD card and I'll do it that way. Um, but I don't know what their file types are, as in actual, if you want to edit an actual file on the VTech. Now, the VTech Challenger, um, in Parents Messenger, you can run basic programs. The VTech's language is PC Basic. Now, I don't know if they've moved on to for actual programming, because I know people have written programs for VTech, but I'm not sure what language they use. Now, if it's for Android systems, because I know like VTech use Android, then you can write Java programs. Now, what I have known is, um, not for VTech, but with Leapfrog stuff, a lot of their stuff is written in Flash, so you can write for like Leapfrog's stuff. But for VTech stuff, I don't know if they write stuff in Flash or not. Um, but I know they write stuff. It's all like a lockdown system in Android form. So you could write an Android app, suppose, and get it to run on the Genio. Um, but when my guarantees ran out in 2 years, I will um, unlock the browser, and I've got a friend who's pretty good with software, and I might jailbreak it. um, yeah, but that's the thing. You can jailbreak VTech. You can jailbreak the VTech Learning Lodge stuff. Um, and since as I know what I'm using it for, yes, I will jailbreak it at some point. But it's still not big enough to put a virtual machine on. So even though it's a lockdown operating system, I still think like there's gotta be this is what I think. Like they've put an internet browser on there. Now, even though and this is the only thing that I would use the internet browser to see like what websites it utilizes, and this is all I would use the browser for, updating the firmware on it. So um, I might get a friend of mine to unlock the web browser for me and then just check any firmware updates and stuff like that, because that's all very important. Another thing as well is to just update any programs, and then any programs um, that I could sideload onto there. I don't think there's anything that I actually want on the VTech at this moment in time. Um, I think some software to write programs on, that'd be pretty nice. But apart from that, um, you know, but I'm still working on my VTech Genio review video. Still working on that as well. And I've read the specs of this, excuse me, this VTech Genio laptop. Um, I read a lot of specs on it before I bought it, but when I bought it, um, I got someone else to check up on it. It's not a Raspberry Pi inside a case, which I know a lot of people will be speculating. It's not a Raspberry Pi, and it's not a Google Chromebook either. um, but it's still, for me, it doesn't. It's got an ARM processor inside it, so it could do a lot. I mean, anything with an ARM processor in, yes, you can hack and put a different ARM processor in. But this is something that I would stress to anyone that's doing this. Um, I wouldn't um, overclock the ARM processor, especially on a toy. You would definitely break it, um, unless you know the specs of the ARM processor. Um, oh yeah, my imaginary friend Charles has just sold. Well, he was doing up a car, but I think it was getting a lot of work for him. So he sold, it was a mini Traveller, but apparently there's just so much work. And he's buying, he's doing some work on the MG. But if I could see, and if I could see to drive 2020 vision, I would not be buying an electric car. Electric cars are pretty good and powerful, but they're not good for if you they're not good for petrol heads, you know. And I've had quite a few arguments with people quite recently, like if you lose your fuel tomorrow, Like, I do ask a lot of the question, would you buy an electric car? I just wish someone would say no. I wish it was because the fuel isn't gonna go anytime soon, um, in my opinion. And if you know, like a battery, if you know how long a battery lasts, it's like you see these people going around in these electric scooters and things, and you can only go so many distance before, um, like electric trucks and 4x4s, they're a different kettle because they're built to go on long journeys, and their batteries are a lot bigger and better. But when you come to car, you see you you can't get rid of fuel that easy. And here's the thing, I wouldn't do anything if you've got an older car. I wouldn't do anything because your insurance will go up on that car. If you, for example, if you've got a Capri, a Ford Capri, which is, say, if you've got a Ford Capri, now what a lot of people are doing with these Ford Capris and all these old cars, they're getting them onto the new system. Why? I mean, I'm not talking about doing all the really good stuff like modifying the engines and all that stuff. Oh no, 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 they're not doing that. What they're doing is they're getting like tanks that take um, the oil, which isn't the proper oil. Um, I hear a lot of petrol heads weep, but yeah, it made me weep to be honest. Um, Especially when I read up on it. Um, but yeah, I'll tell you what I am watching at the moment. These choppers with basically the if you know what a chopper is, you know the uh, little bicycles, a bit like what Ray has in his shop. But basically, what people are doing is they're putting these engines on these choppers, um, these motor choppers, and yeah, so literally they're getting like a 125 engine and they're sticking them on. Um, there's a guy in the pub who we're constantly talking about motorcycles. Um, in fact, I knew someone who had a Norton chopper, and I was playing around with bikes and starting them up and all that. And I got his chopper started, but it literally stalled. And We were just farting around with that. But there's a challenge for you, Ray, if you ever get the chance. A day to get a rally, to get a Norton engine and stick it on a rally, an old rally chopper. It is doable, but it's very costly. But mind you, if you can put a bicycle bell on a cane, you can put a little 125 engine on a rally. I think those little Norton engines, I think they're small. I think they were like 50 cc, but they're very rare and hard, and they'd be very. I think they'd be very expensive. Actually, I don't think they'd go on a rally. I think it'd have to be a smaller engine on a rally. But people are doing it, aren't they?